Hello, this is Faith and Books, and I am just going to talk about my last challenge of the year. I'm not going to do any more challenges because I'm just loading up too much. But yesterday I was piddling around the internet and I went to my old favorite book blog haunts, Howling Frog Books and Classical Carousel, and I'll link to those below because I've enjoyed those blogs for years now. Though I don't go that frequently, but when I'm in the mood, I go. And they're doing the Back to the Classics challenge. Now, this might be going on BookTube. I'm not sure, but it's definitely going on in the book blog world. And so I decided I would do it because there's a lot of overlap with what I'm already doing. So I thought I would join in. So let me just real quick go through. There are 12 categories, and I'm just going to go through each category and the book I've chosen for that category. And I will also list all 12 of the prompts or categories in the description below. So the first prompt or category is a 19th century classic. I've just started to read Romola. Can you see that? By Georgette Eliot. I'm just getting into it. I'm like 7% in or something. It's kind of had a weird beginning. It was hard to figure out what was going on. And I still haven't met the main character or the character that the novel is named for. But anyway, I'm starting to get into it. So it's set in Renaissance Florence, which sounds really interesting. So that's going to be, I'm going to call that my 19th century classic because it was written by George Eliot and she's sort of a classic Victorian writer. The next prompt is reading a 20th century classic. And there's a stipulation here that it's got to be something written before 1970. And I decided to read a canticle for Leibowitz for this category. And that's also Cleo at Classical Carousel's choice for this. But my oldest son had just told me over Christmas that I should read. He's told me before. He's recommended it to me before. And he had just reread it or re-listened to it on audio. And he recommended it again at Christmas to me. So I thought, I got to read that one. So that's the one, A Canticle for Leibowitz. And I think that's a sci-fi. So I might try to do that in February in fantasy sci-fi February. Then the prompt number 3 is a classic by a woman author. And I'm royally cheating here because I'm counting Little Women as both my last book that I read in 2019 and my first book that I finished in 2020 because I finished it just after midnight. And so I'm going to say I've already completed this category. I read Little Women, or reread it, and that's a classic by a woman author. So that's category number 3. Category number 4 is a classic in translation. I actually have a couple of books here that I could use for this category, but I think I'm going to choose The Hunchback of Notre Dame for this category because that's in translation, obviously, and also it will be part of my Chunkster challenge. So that'll fulfill 2 requirements. The next prompt is a classic by a person of color. And I have been wanting to learn more about West Africa because the little boy I babysit, his mother comes from a West African country. And so I looked around. I had a list actually at Goodreads of possible reads for that. And I've decided on Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, which I think is considered a contemporary classic. So that's the classic by a person of color. Number 6 is a genre classic, and I'm just going to make The Daughter of Time fit this category. I think that it's a well-known, popular and admired mystery that it could maybe be considered a genre classic. So I'm calling it that. Number 7, the 7th prompt, is a classic with a name in the title. And again, I have several that could be used for this, but Romola could be one, but I think I'm going to use The Little World of Don Camillo, which I've started reading. I don't have it with me. But that's the short stories about the feuding mayor, communist mayor, and the Catholic priest in the little town in Italy after World War II. And they're just absolutely delightful stories. And so I'm gonna, in Italy, it's considered a classic. So The Little World of Don Camillo. Number 8 is a classic with a place in the title. And I think I'm going to use this as an excuse to read the next book by Patrick Lee Fermer. I read Time of Gifts, and I absolutely, it was just a stunning book. And so I really want to read the sequel to it, which is called Between the Woods and the River, on foot from Constantinople, from the middle Danube to the Iron Gate. So that's got lots of place names in the title. So that's going to be my classic for number 8. For number 9, a classic with nature in the title, like some element of nature in the title, like Wind in the Willows was one of the examples. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I don't think so. Maybe it's not cheating at all, but I'm going to do Swallows and Amazons. Swallows are definitely in nature. This is a book about kids camping and sailing and living on an island. So it's got plenty of nature in it. And this overlaps with the Chunkster challenge because I'm going to read the whole series. So it'll be more than 800 pages. So that's going to be my classic with nature in the title. Prompt 10 is a classic about a family, and I'm going to put 8 Cousins by Louisa May Alcott for this category because I'm doing a year with Louisa May. Probably more of her books would fall in this category, but 8 Cousins sounds like it's for sure about a family, so I'm going to use that one for that particular category. Number 11 is an abandoned classic, so a classic you started before and didn't finish. And for this one, I'm picking Crime and Punishment because I attempted Crime and Punishment back one summer when I was in college and never finished it. So I want to go back. Or not, I can't go back, right? But at least it would be good to finish it this year, to finally finish it. I've been meaning, that's how slow I am. I've been meaning to finish it ever since. And it's taken me this long. So hopefully this will be the year, 2020. And then the last prompt is a classic adaptation. And I'm doing the same one as Cleo at Classical Carousels again. Just so happens that I have been planning to read Bleak House. It's going to meet the Chunkster requirement, but it's also been sitting on my shelf for a few years, ever since I saw the miniseries, which I really loved. And I don't watch very many miniseries, so I think that might have been the last one I watched. But I really loved it, and it made me go out and get the book, and then I never read it. So I was planning to read it anyway this year, and that fits the category of classic adaptation. So those are all the books that I'm going to do for my Back to the Classics challenge, which overlaps with my various other challenges. And I like that. I like that there's a lot of overlap. So I can participate in different challenges. So that's it. I'll put everything in the description in case anyone's interested. Talk to you later. Bye.